I had the wrong impression of what off-roading is like. We're going up this. Today, Brittany's going to take me off-road in her buggy. I'm Justin.
I'm Brittany.
And this is Husman Bros. Before we go too much further, please subscribe to Lite Brite, which we'll link down below, but subscribe to us as well. Now, Brittany, I don't know how I feel about all this, but apparently you're going to take me up this path.
Yes.
In this.
So the trail we're going to go on is called Nasty Half. It's rated a 9. We have, if it makes you feel a little better,
okay,
we've actually done this in our Jeep Wrangler, our JL called the Stepchild.
Okay.
But today we're going to do it in the buggy because I just put water in the front tires.
Okay.
And we need to test it out anyways. And
so we're going to experiment with me.
Yes,
excellent.
100%.
Excellent. So how many gallons of water are in the tires?
Honestly, I don't know how many gallons. It's filled up exactly halfway.
Okay, very good. And
about
so what's
400 pounds, 200 in each tire.
So why did you do that?
So with a buggy, this vehicle in general is really light.
Okay.
And in a buggy, we're doing a lot of really extreme obstacles that involve usually really, really steep climbs.
Really?
And when you're doing these steep climbs, the front end can get very light.
Okay.
So adding front water to the tire does two things. A, it adds weight as low as humanly possible, so it lowers your center of gravity overall, which makes the vehicle more stable on extreme obstacles. But it also adds more weight to the front specifically to give you more traction and help weigh it down so it doesn't get too light and you don't go over backwards.
Okay, well, I would say I can't wait, but I think I can. So let's take a couple more minutes and I want you to tell me about this. We didn't see this yesterday.
You didn't, it was covered. Yep.
Right, so tell me what we're looking at here and what it is.
So this is my buggy, aka the side chick. It's my side chick. So it is an S&N chassis, which they actually went out of business. And this is pretty old. It's like a 15-year-old buggy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's got a Ford 302 in there. And the setup is, as far as buggies go, it's pretty basic, honestly.
Okay.
We've got Bilstein coilovers. It's got a 60-70 axles in it, 42-inch nittos that are, as you can see, pretty tall. They're also sticky, which gives you more traction as well out here.
Got it.
Bead locks, and I mean, there's really, I guess, and I was gonna say there's not much else to talk about, but I'm a little jaded. The things that are really interesting about this, I'm not used to talking about because they're so normal for me. So if you take a look inside, so you see there's a lot of levers going on.
Okay.
And there's also down in here, there's a lot of switches. There's a lot of switches. Most of those aren't important. They're lights and stuff like that, but a lot of them are very important. And you'll see me using them a lot on the trail. So this has ARB front and rear lockers. So it has air lockers front and rear, which means it has an air compressor on the vehicle as well to keep those air lockers functioning. Okay. This also has an Atlas transfer case. Which is basically a selectable transfer case, meaning that I can select individually both the front or the rear axle. So if I want to do like a front dig, like disengage the rear axle and do a front dig, or maybe disengage the front axle and do a rear dig.
And push, right?
Yeah, and then obviously I have a cutting brake as well. So that's what the big tall silver thing is. Okay. And essentially what that does is it is attached to both of the rear brakes. So if I push that thing forward, it will engage the driver rear brake. Okay. And essentially stop this axle or stop this tire so that I can pivot tighter around it. Got it. And same thing, if I pull on it, it engages the right rear brake. Okay. So I can pivot that way. Basically gives you it gives me a better turning radius in certain situations, but it can do a lot more than just that. And that's kind of the cool thing about buggies, is there are so many tools equipped on this thing for me to use, and all of them do several different things that can help me successfully accomplish getting up an obstacle. When you really know what you're doing, and I'm still, as far as buggies go, I'm still actually pretty new. I've got a good amount of seat time in this, but not nearly as much as I wish I did. Okay. But the guys that are really good, it is wild the type of rocks and obstacles that they can crawl up in their buggies. The only thing this one isn't equipped with is rear steer, which is something I do want eventually. It's the ability basically to steer the rear tires. Okay. It is a massive help, but it can also be a massive hindrance and get you into a lot of trouble if you don't know what you're doing. Okay. So I'm gonna get way more seat time in this and get a lot more comfortable, and then eventually we'll probably get something with rear steer so I can do even more stuff.
So you said the trail we're going on is rated a 9.
Yes.
Out of what?
So Sand Hollow's ratings out here, we're at Sand Hollow State Park in Utah. Sand Hollow rates their trails very differently than most areas. Okay. So you have a 1 through a 10, and those are basically rating for full-sized rigs, so like Jeeps. A 10 is essentially a trail that a Jeep has never been able to accomplish.
Got it, okay.
And then a 9, a couple of Jeeps maybe. And then an
Really?
8, more, 7 down. Basically, the lower it is, the easier it is.
Okay.
But here at Sand Hollow, they also rate from 11 to 15.
Okay.
A 10, 11 are buggy trails.
Okay.
A 12, 13, 14, 15, you're getting up to like rear steer, wild, crazy only stuff.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and 15 would technically be a trail that no one's broken yet.
Got it. So let me get this straight. So you don't have as much seat time as you would like. We're experimenting with water in our tires, and we're doing a fairly tough trail.
Yep.
Let's do it.
It'll be fantastic.
I think so. Let's try it. I'm in a buggy, and Brittany is about to drag me up a mountain. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or not, but away we go.
It'll be great.
It'll be great. Justin doesn't like roller coasters. Away we go. was an incredible amount of fun. I don't know that I would ever choose to be the pilot, but I would certainly be the co-pilot anytime. That was a bunch of fun, and it was fascinating to watch a professional at work. I mean, I had the wrong impression of what off-roading is like. This is really something else.
Did you, when you saw some of those obstacles, did you think she was just going to walk through them like that?
Well, yeah, no, not at all. And quite often she picked the line that I was like, there's no way. I mean, why don't we go the easy way? That makes more sense.
He's like, that's not where I would have gone.
Right. Well, to be fair, I would not have gone up the first one, but yeah. I dig it. I think it could be fun if you're into it, right?
Yeah.
And this is really a lot of fun being here and seeing this, but I don't think this is the way I would choose to abuse a vehicle. I'll go fast in circles, but that's fine.
We're like dragging this way, and the wall's like that far from his head, and he's like, I
didn't get to the gym this morning, but I got a core workout.
There you go,
yeah. No, it's definitely interesting, and this is basically like what they'd call a warm-up trail.
Well, okay, really?
So this is like the top of what the Jeep could do. So like the stepchild could do this with a lot of work and a lot of time.
And a good enough driver.
Okay. Like so I've made it through this trail.
In the stepchild.
I don't think I came up. Did I come up the end? I don't
you
think
did.
I came up the end.
You came up the exit, yeah.
Okay, so I've done this
hard,
whole, but this is like the limit of what my Jeep would do.
Really? Okay.
This is a warm-up for this vehicle.
Got it.
Right? So this is just like, let's make sure everything's working. Let's make sure there's no issues. Okay, now let's go do a hard trail.
Yeah, this was kind of for us, like this was just us testing the water in the tires.
Got it, okay.
But like we've been in certain, like there's several trails and several situations where you're like, I usually wear a helmet when I'm wheeling. Because I'm expecting the very high possibility of flipping to happen.
Like 30, 40 foot walls that you're climbing up and you might lose traction in the middle of it and there's a crack, and if you drop into the crack, it's very interesting on how that works, on how this is like the beginning and the warm up and what you do.
But to you, you're just
but you look at it, so.
I gotta say the most disconcerting part was all the creaks and noises that this was making. And
I was telling you, you just gotta get used to what's a normal, what's just the body panels, and then what's not a good noise.
Yeah, no, she does really good in this, and this is like a 15-plus-year-old buggy.
Really?
Yeah, this is.
It's pretty basic,
but it does work.
Now, would you do that same trail in the Yamaha Monster that you showed me? The
Polaris? No.
The Polaris.
The Razor?
The Pro R, the Razor
So
Pro.
that's not this.
No.
It wouldn't. The IFS makes stuff like that really difficult.
You have no articulation.
Yeah, so you'd be pulling tire and flipping.
You have travel.
Okay.
You have suspension travel, but you don't have the articulation.
You don't have the way to lock it.
Now, I'm sure there are some guys that could or would. Yeah. I don't have that skill in a side-by-side. I'm very good in my Jeep.
And solid axle.
But I'm not that. Like, I wouldn't take the Bronco through this.
We keep most of our IFS to the high-speed, fast stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is neat. Totally. It's super cool. Again, I don't know that I would do it, but if I lived out here, I might. You know, it's different, right?
And most people don't start doing this this late in the day during the summer, but it's so nice here in the winter. It's like 70 out during the winter, right? So you come out here all winter and like you just pack up lunches and drinks and you
spend all day on the trails.
Yeah, you know, we're gonna go take you out to top of the world and out to like West Rim where you're gonna be on top of like a 1,000-foot cliff.
Really? It'll be a little more your style, and you'll see what I mean when we get there.
Yeah.
So they told me this is a warm-up, and I don't know how I feel about that, but we're gonna head back down, grab the other, the Demon Child, and see what happens next. So I'm looking forward to it. This is a great time. Thanks for watching.